Hi, it's David C. Jones with Before the Curtain Goes Up again. And gosh, I hope I get it. Oh, it's so corny. A chorus line is coming. Like Studio 58 is doing chorus line. And Carmen Aguirre is involved. Now, she's a graduate of Studio 58, but she's not on the stage. She's doing something that I've never heard of before. And we're going to find out more about that. Hi, Carmen.
Hey, David, I wish I was on the stage, but I'm about 30 years too old for those roles.
Well, no, no. Oh, but isn't there the older actress who is trying to get the director to hire her or something like that?
Oh,
So
yeah,
she
but
has that
she's
part.
older, meaning she's like 30, right? Like, here, I'm a senior at Shoppers Drug Mart.
But you're such a good actor. Now, well, maybe we should talk first about Chorus Line because Chorus Line is it was for the longest time the longest running show on Broadway. I think that record has been broken since then. But what is Chorus Line about?
Oh, gosh, you're really putting me on the spot. Okay, well, first of all, I love a chorus line.
Me
God damn
too.
it. Wow. What is it about? It is about a chorus line,
Aptly titled then.
and we hear the stories of the actors and the dancers, really, they consider themselves dancers. We hear the stories of the dancers auditioning to be in the chorus line of an upcoming show.
One of the things that I think is so beautiful about that show is they're not auditioning to be the leads. They're auditioning to be anonymous,
Yeah,
basically. Yeah, which is gives it this real kind of tinge of like joy and sadness almost for the audience because it's like, wow, you worked that hard to be behind the star.
yeah,
And
yeah.
what's your favorite song from it? There's so many amazing songs by the Marvin Hamlish score. I was a kid, I listened to the album all the time.
Well, I love all of them, and of course now, like I mean, all of them really. It's no longer called tits and ass, right? 310, three looks three. No, dance
Dance
three.
10, Dance 10 looks 3.
That's right. Like, but all of them, like that finale, like the the actual song one. I mean, I can't pick one. I can't pick one. I love
Yeah.
them all. Yeah.
It's one of those ones that as each song comes onto the soundtrack, you suddenly go, oh.
Yes.
Even that more talky song where she talks about going to acting class, which we both went to
Yeah.
Studio 58. So of course, when we were young and listening to it, we were probably like, this is exactly what it's like. Right? Now you have an interesting job title. What is your job title?
I'm the cultural consultant, and so I think that's a fabulous thing. And what that means, okay, so the show is being directed by Courtney Dobie, the fabulous, amazing director and artistic director of the school, Studio 58, Courtney Dobie, and she's a white woman. And there are two characters in the play who are Puerto Rican, actually New Yorican, which is a Puerto Rican from New York. Um, and one of those characters is being played by a Latinx actor, and the other character is being played by a racialized non-Latinx actor. And both the understudies are not Latinx.
Right.
So Courtney got a hold of me and said, look, I'm white. These two
It,
characters are Latinx. There's only one Latinx person in the room, and that's one of the actors. I would really feel far more comfortable tackling this if I had your eyes on it, because I don't want to, I'm sure I have blind spots that I'm not even aware of. And I just need your lens on this particular thing. And so, what has happened in the past is in a situation like the one that I just described,
yeah.
a cultural consultant has not been brought into the room. And often, what has happened is unintentionally, Latinx characters get directed in such a way, and sometimes it's just a generalization as opposed to going into specifics, right? That you are actually reinforcing racist stereotypes of Latinx people that are so dominant.
Hmm.
in the mainstream culture of North America, you know?
I would think the other danger is whitewashing the character, like
Yeah,
that you kind of go, well, that you just stripped anything that makes them unique and you blanded them into everyone else, and
yeah,
so it's either like a jaw-droppingly awful racial stereotype, or I don't get that she's Latin at all. Or,
yes,
yeah,
exactly. And so where's that line when it's actually a non-Latinx person playing a Latinx role, right? So the way that I always approach those kinds of situations is to ask the actor, like, first of all, to give them permission to play that role. And second of all, to ask the actor to not try to be Latinx, whatever that would even look like, but to witness,
hmm,
right? So to really go at the portrayal as a witness, like what is it like to witness this Latinx character as I inhabit them, or as I let them inhabit me? And in that way, I can bring my whole self to the role. If I frame it as a witness,
interesting.
as opposed to I am going to be this Latinx character.
Do you make them go? I remember when you were you came in as a consultant when I was at school. I remember vividly some of the stuff that you said, and I remember you mentioning there was a club downtown then, right? Clubs have all come and gone, and then the pandemic wiped out a lot of them. That was that catered to a more Latin clientele. Did you send them off to go and do research? Go and observe. These are young people going out to a nightclub having a good time. Your characters are young Latin people, so you would probably go to a club like this. Like, did you do anything like that?
I mean, that is a very good point. I did not do that, but I did suggest that they watch reggaeton YouTube videos and
Nice.
that watch J Lo's movie Halftime. It's on Netflix right now.
Oh, okay.
Daddy J Lo, right? And whatever they end up taking away, whatever they end up doing, is up to them, of course. But I think I have heard back from them that it has been very valuable to have a Latinx cultural consultant in the room, even to just give them the permission to inhabit these roles without any kind of trepidation. If you look at it from that lens of I'm witnessing this character as I inhabit them, as opposed to I am being this, because that's when I think um, people feel uncomfortable, like the actual actor feels uncomfortable, but I'm not this.
Well, and I would think it's a combination. You might have in other situations, I'm uncomfortable or I'm not conscious that I'm doing anything
Yes.
wrong. So it goes again, it goes to those two extremes of like, uh, what you're doing is not good and what you're doing is not good, right? And you're both doing completely different things and they're both not good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, well, cool. Now, I just want to ask one more question about that. So do you sit in a couple rehearsals? Well, I'm gonna call them well, Carmen. Sorry, I should give them Latinx names. I just realized I was gonna give them very anglicized names. Well, you're sitting with person A and person B. They're doing the rehearsal with everyone else, and then Courtney gives her notes and things that she wants to work on, and then do they come over to you afterwards and you go, here's what I see, or how does this work, or do you just meet with them separately?
Oh, yeah. No, the notes always go through the director, and it's up to the director whether she wants to even share them or not, because she's the director. So I went to a run through on Sunday. As an aside, it's going to be a great show. I hope everybody goes to see it. No, seriously.
No, I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. And I, made a couple of notes, and then the actors were on a break, and on that break, I talked to Courtney, gave her my thoughts, gave her my suggestions, and then she decides how and if she communicates that to the actor.
Nice.
I know it's also been very helpful for her to have me in the room. to know that there's somebody in the room who it's not just helpful for the actors, it definitely is a relief, as it were, for the director. Yeah.
I can imagine, because especially being in a school, that tiptoeing in, right, and going, oh, I don't want to make any mistakes here. So you're there to kind of go, I'll make sure you don't make any mistakes.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you know, the actors and the director, it's their show. They're going to do what they're going to do. Um, and you know, they've been given a lot of information to work with from me.
Nice.
And it's a school and they're learning, you know, and so it might not they might not get all of they not be they might not be able to incorporate all of those notes.
Well,
That's okay. It's a school, they're there to learn, right? Yeah.
nice. And this is not your first time. We want to wrap up. I don't want to like open up a whole new thread, but this is not your first time, because you also had that amazing play that you wrote. Oh gosh, Refugee Hotel.
Yeah, yeah.
That that was one of the issues with the show is that it's a huge cast. So it's a studio, and you negotiated doing it, and you knew that the student body wasn't made up of all Latinx students. So you had to. Did you direct that show, or did you just write? Yeah, that's right. So, and I remember you had a note in the program saying, "Yeah, it's students. They're not all Latin. We know that."
Yes, yes. And I think a school setting is the perfect place to do this kind of thing. The difference being that in the past, you might have done the Red Sisters at a theater school with an all-white cast, and you would just do it
Mm,
because, quote unquote, anybody can play anything. Now, when you do the Red Sisters, let's pretend that you were to do the Red Sisters in a school setting and there weren't very many Indigenous folks in the cast, you would make sure to bring in an Indigenous director.
hmm
You know, barring that, you would make absolutely sure to bring in an Indigenous cultural consultant.
right.
So it's great to keep doing these things in a school setting because it forces a student to do the kind of research they might not otherwise do about other communities, right? And it's imperative that when we do it in a school, if we don't have a director from that community, certainly a cultural consultant from that community. Yeah.
I think it's also a way, like theater always engenders empathy. So this would engender empathy in a completely different way, uh, uh, in a much more fulfilling way, if it's being treated with the utmost respect and your word, witnessing the character, right?
Yeah.
Well, you get a chance now. We'll wrap up here. What I always do is I put people on the spot, even though you're not directly involved with the show. You've now watched some run-throughs. So I'm going to say 3, 2, 1, action, and you're going to sell the people why they should see Chorus Line. Even if they've seen it before, they're like, Chorus Line again. Right. And this is at the Waterfront Theatre. So I'm going to go 3, 2, 1, and you're going to do a pitch to the audience. Ready? Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
You have to see a chorus line because it's not often that you get the chance to see a chorus line in Vancouver and with this amazing student cast who are killing it on that stage.
Lovely. Carmen, it is always amazing and inspiring to talk with you. Thank you so much for helping us understand what a cultural consultant is. And I look forward to seeing the show.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me, David.